everybody, it's Zach, aka Zach's Reviews. We are back again with another video, and guys, today is going to be my Peacemaker Episode 5 review. The name of today's episode was called Monkey Dory, and I just love the names that James has given these episodes. They're very out there and crazy and just like funny. It fits the world and the tone of Peacemaker. I just love how this episode was called Monkey Dory. The last episode we got for episode 4 was called The Chode Less Traveled, and they talked a lot about chodes in the last damn episode, so I thought that was funny that he has, when you hear of the name of the episode, it literally, whatever the name of the episode is contained in what the episode is going to be, like, about in a way, so I find it funny that this one was called Monkey Dory, because it goes to show in the last episode and the information that we got, it led into this episode, and it kind of is involved of what, like, the name of the title is of this episode. So I love how, in this episode, we pretty much, start off is that we're getting, a debrief, and the debrief is, as I guess, like, of what, Anabayo found out in the last episode of the one girl that got blown up in Peacemaker's apartment is connected. She had like an ID badge to this one warehouse, and she had a working card that was connected to the warehouse. And they said this is not a coincidence. Maybe this is like the main hub of the butterflies. We're gonna go check it out. We're gonna be split in teams. This, and that. And, of course, at this point, we know Chris, a.k.a. Peacemaker, is not having it with John. He does not like John after John's the one that, set up his father with the whole switching out the fingerprints and switching out the license plates to the owning of Peacemaker's car. And he's just not having it. And he keeps calling, John Diebeard, saying, oh, this PowerPoint sucks, Diebeard, because, John's the one that made the PowerPoint. And I love how John made this PowerPoint because it is so funny looking, the PowerPoint. Like, he has an explosion cut sequence to the next PowerPoint. It's very cheesy. It's a very cheesy PowerPoint, and it literally feels like an 80s, 90s PowerPoint, like the way it's done and stuff. It's just very funny. And I just love that because we get those vibes of the older rock music, and you know what I mean? It's just, you have those like the 90s, 80s vibes you got going on in the show, and I really like the tone, and you see that with the PowerPoint, but, Chris is, like, hating on his PowerPoint, saying, oh, yeah, Diebeard, your PowerPoint sucks, this, and that, and he's like, oh, he's like, I get it, yeah, it sucks, if you want to do it, you do it next time, and then, of course, is like, like what, like you framed my dad, and you put him in prison and this stuff, and he's like, I didn't know what else to do. And then I love how, Chris is like, oh yeah, you could have got Ariana Grande, you could have got Drake, he just starts naming a whole bunch of famous people and shit like that, just and well-known people. Like, he names at the end of the episode, we get bloopers, which we've been getting bloopers at every end of the episode. And I love how at the end of this blooper, he's named, like, Mario, Luigi, and a whole bunch of other people. It's just, like, a blooper that they had, I guess, of extra names that he threw in there, but it didn't make the cut. So I found it funny, just, like, the bloopers they put at the end. But when he was naming everybody, it was so funny, because when he mentioned, like, Ariana Grande, that was funny to me. But the real one that I was like, oh, shit, that was really making me laugh was, like, when he's like, oh, he's like, I forget what he said. It was, Bill Cosby got out, and he has a rap sheet. You could have put it on him or whatever. I was like, fuck. I was like, damn. I just love the jokes that he had. It was like, you could have put it on anybody. And I found that funny. Just like, he was just naming names. And he's like, fine, if, like, next time if that happens, I'll put it on somebody else, on one of those names you mentioned and stuff in that long list of people. And he's like, and you can really just tell right now that, Peacemaker and John are not working right now. That they're not getting along. They're not, like, and he's upset about it, of course, that, he didn't want to put it on Peacemaker's father, but that's the first person he could really, like, knew that, oh my god, Peacemaker's father is a piece of shit. Let me just put it on him. It makes sense that he would do something like that. And I was like, it would make sense in that situation. But I just love how, as of right now, Peacemaker and his father were never really on good terms, but especially now after, Vigilante, went into prison and tried to kill, Peacemaker's father, and now knows that, he thinks that, Peacemaker, his son, is trying to kill him in prison because, Adrian accidentally gave away, saying, you're a terrible father, and that's how kind of like, Peacemaker's father's like, I need to talk to the warden, I need to talk to him, I have some information, I was set up, this, and that, and we see that in this episode, is he trying, like, the White Dragon is his name, or whatever, is like his, like, villain name, I forget what his actual name is, Peacemaker's father, but he is pretty much saying, to the one agent that we saw in the previous episode, and the other agents, like there's like two agents, I don't even remember their names, but they're like, he's like, just check my fingerprints, you know what I mean? They'll show that they're not my fingerprints, and they're my stupid ass Stun's fingerprints. And, we see that through the episode, and then, they take the fingerprints, they find out they're not actually, Peacemakers. Peacemaker Father is actually not the one that did it, and they find out they're actually Peacemaker's fingerprints. But, it turns out that I guess Myrn had like a contingency plan, whether like if if Peacemaker's father would say, go recheck my fingerprints, that they would switch out the main person in charge of that precinct and put somebody else in. And we see the one agent finding out that this one person in charge of the precinct is acting weird and pretty much saying that, is ignoring the problem. I'm going to go over his head and I'm going to look more into this. And, like, I guess she has, like, a cousin or whatever, or an uncle or something. I think a cousin or some sort of, person that she knows that I guess is an ex-lawyer that can get her, search warrant to get, like, I guess to look at Peacemaker's place. So we're going to see that in the next episode where, like, she knows that, the White Dragon, Peacemaker's, racist father is actually the one, he's a piece of crap, he's racist, but he's not the one that committed that crime. It was Peacemaker, and she wants to still follow the law, even though, like, it was funny because, like, they re-talk to the person, the two civilians that, like, were captured by Peacemaker, like the couple that was in that apartment that Peacemaker went into. There's a word for it, and I'm forgetting what the word is. They just talk to them again, and they finally say, someone made us say it was somebody else, but it was actually Peacemaker that did it, and stuff like that. So she wants to actually get Peacemaker for his crime, even though the other dude's done some shitty things, and is a piece of crap, but yeah, he was the one that committed that crime. Even though I love how the one dude said, but that dude's a racist, so I was fine with saying it was that dude and stuff like that, and he's a piece of shit, like, just keep him behind bars. And I was like, yeah, just keep him behind bars, and essentially that's what happens when I guess, actually Waller's the one that sent in the other dude to make sure that when that Peacemaker's father doesn't say it was, like, doesn't get out of the prison, and they don't get Peacemaker out, because as we all know, Peacemaker is working with Waller's outside of her outside team, pretty much, and he's doing something, so they don't want to, like, they don't want to lose a member of that team when Waller's using him, of course, for the mission that they're on to stop the butterflies. So they want to make sure that Peacemaker's father doesn't screw everything up. So that's why Waller sent in this other dude that she has on her call to help out Myrn to take the place of the one, I guess, the one precinct person, to make sure that Peacemaker's father doesn't get out, even though this one agent is knowing that Peacemaker's father didn't commit the crime, and it should be Peacemaker in jail. And we're going to see that in the next episode when they do the search warrant and they try to get him, and that's going to be a crazy episode, next week's episode. But also, they're getting ready to go infiltrate this place. Again, as we all know, the problem between John and Peacemaker, and we see, of course, Inabio talking to, Peacemaker about, like, he made a mistake, you should stop calling him Diebeard, even though, it makes him sad. And we see a big, like, thing between, Peacemaker and, Inabio and, of course, Vigilante, and they're all talking, and they're like, and Peacemaker's like, back in school, they used to think, I was a bully or whatever, and, because, I used to, like, make fun of people. I guess, like, I used to make fun of people and call them names and stuff, like, names of what their dicks looked like and shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck? It was just like, it's so Peacemaker that he would name people after what their dicks look like. He's like, and then they had a full on conversation about anybody. I was like, why would you look at their dick? He's like, why wouldn't I look at their dick? You expect me to look at their towel in the locker room? I was like, oh my god. He's like, oh, they like, and then I guess Vigilante must have went to the same school as him, because he's like, yeah, Peacemaker, yeah, like, Peacemaker gave, it's an honor to get a name by Peacemaker, like, he named my brother, I guess, Prince Charming or some shit like that, or something. He said something like that. He was like, oh, he called me Prince Charming or something, and he's like, oh, yeah, like, I meant that as a compliment. He's like, well, my brother didn't, or whatever. That's what Vigilante said, or I'm assuming he said it was his brother or something, that Peacemaker called his brother, like, Prince Charming, or he called him Prince Charming, or I think it was, he called his brother Prince Charming. And he's like, yeah, but my brother doesn't like it, he cried about it or something. And he's like, oh, like, when did giving, calling people names make you the person that's giving the names the bully or something like that? And it's just, it really made, like, it was just funny that, they were talking about all that. I just thought that was funny. And then we get to the point where we get into the vehicle, and they're getting ready to go, and Peacemaker's listening to this like rock band, and at this point, Vigilante and Peacemaker are rocking out, but of course John and Abayo and of course Hardcore aren't really having it, especially Hardcore. She just doesn't want to listen to the music. She's like, we're done with this. I don't want to hear it. And Peacemaker is calling her, a party pooper. You know what I mean? Like, oh, of course you don't like music like this, and that. And I just thought that was funny. And next thing you know, we actually, Peacemaker and John actually become friends, because they talk about, like, John's like, oh, why don't you put on the 11th Street Kids? And then Peacemaker's like, what? You know the 11th Street Kids? And then he's like, yeah, like, I saw them back in, back in college or whatever, and, I got this tattoo right after. And he's like, they're the best, and then Hardcore's like, who are the 11th Street Kids? And they're like, and then Peacemaker's like, you don't know the 11th Street Kids? And then, anybody was like, if you don't know them, it's like, I guess that, they really haven't made, like, I guess, actually, no, Hardcore's like, oh, I guess if I've never heard of them, they really haven't made that much of much of an impact in music. And then, anybody was like, we have, streets named after Martin Luther King and stuff, but we don't have, like, a street named the 11th Street Kids or whatever. And you're like, yeah, and then they play the music, and then that's how John and that's how Peacemaker really become friends again. That's how they get, like, on a, like, because they that's how he kind of gets respect for John, saying, oh, you're badass that you listen to this and stuff like that. And it was really cool to see them finally get along, and finally, like, he's finally forgiving him because they have, like, the same music taste and stuff. So I thought that was cool, and they listen to the music, but right as the music starts, they get to the place. And that's pretty much when they're trying to split up into teams. Of course, Inabayo and Hardcore literally do rock, paper, scissors to see who gets who. Like, if Hardcore gets, Vigilante or Peacemaker, they're trying to, like, see who's going to get who. But, of course, at this point, Hardcore really wants to get Peacemaker instead of Vigilante, because Vigilante is known to talk like Deadpool. And because literally I would say this is DC's version of Deadpool, honestly. I love Vigilante. I love Adrian Chase. He's great. I just love this character. So I was like, you can really tell when she said, oh, shit. And she's like, oh, Vigilante with me, Peacemaker with Inabayo. And Inabayo's like, don't start just shooting up things, you know what I mean? Let's be low-key, let's figure out, because at this point, Peacemaker's just ready to, go to town and start shooting people in the place, thinking that they're all butterflies in there, but the Hardcore and, Inabayo are like, we don't know if they're butterflies, let's just go in there, let's get the information that we need, and that's when, when they go in there, Peacemaker automatically, with his big-ass shotgun, takes out this person at the front desk, but he has a mask that has X-ray vision, which was very smart. I love how each individual helmet has, like, a different ability, and this helmet has X-ray vision, so right away he knows if butterflies are in their head. So I just love that, and then that's when he says, she's like, I thought I told you not to shoot people, and he's like, X-ray vision, they have butterflies in their head, look. And I love how Inabayo is just shooting their bodies after Peacemaker already has killed them just to make sure they're dead. And he's like, look, like, I already shot them. You don't need to shoot them again. They're already dead. So I thought that was funny. And we see Vigilante and Hardcore, and they're kind of like, it fit a lot better that Vigilante wasn't so up to just go kill people, even though he wanted to bring a chainsaw in and just go to town on people. It's like, oh, I always wanted to kill people with a chainsaw, and he was kind of like a kid in the moment who was like, oh, dang, why can't I bring the chainsaw? I never get to bring the chainsaw. I really want to kill someone with a chainsaw. And I thought it was funny because John was looking at the chainsaw. I'm like, okay, is John going to use this chainsaw in this episode? Is that kind of like, oh, he's looking at it and he's going to like go in maybe at some point using the chainsaw? And we'll get to that moment. But, it was a better choice that Vigilante went with Hardcore because they kind of have the same, like, yeah, Vigilante talks, but yeah, Vigilante I think is more professional in a way, a little bit more than Peacemaker because he was very stealthy with Hardcore. I thought that matched a little better, and I just thought, he listened a lot more, so I really appreciated that moment. I was like, okay, that fits better actually. And that was just a cool moment when they get trapped in the one room, when they get spotted by one of the butterflies in the this factory setting where they're actually, Hardcore opens up a box and ends up finding out that that's that gross gooey brown juice that they drink that that keeps these butterflies alive, and like this is like their main hub of food source. Like this one, factory, it ships out all these, food jars all across the globe. So, like, this is, like, the main hub for, like, of their food. And I thought for sure Peacemaker was going to want to blow it up when he found out from, when Hardcore, put on the comm saying, look, this is, like, this might be, like, their main food factory, and it's getting shipped out worldwide. And I thought when, Peacemaker, got the bomb that had, like, got this, like, missile that had, like, a grenade taped to it, I thought it was going to blow up the whole place, but he only wanted to take out, like, the it was, like, about maybe, like, 10 butterflies around the one door that Hardcore and Vigilante are trapped behind, and they get taken out by something, and at this point, I don't know what it is, but it goes to show that I was like, holy shit, I had a moment of realization. Like, they mentioned a gorilla in the last episode, so I was like, oh my god, is it the gorilla that's in there? And it turns out when Peacemaker throws that, like, missile with the grenade taped to it, and it blows all them up, we get this cool, like, superhero, like jumping away from explosion, like shot. I thought that was very funny. And next thing you know, they go in there, and they actually is the gorilla, and the gorilla's kicking. Like, well, I love how Adebayo goes in there, and she just gets trucked by the gorilla. And then next thing you know, Peacemaker gets in there, he gets beaten up by the gorilla. They're all outmatched. They're getting their asses kicked, and then next thing you know, here comes, like, at this point, the gorilla is like talking, and the gorilla's about to like slam down on Peacemaker. Next thing you know, here comes John right behind the gorilla and shoves in the chainsaw, and is chainsawing the gorilla literally from the back into his chest. And I was like, oh my god, what the hell? I thought for instance if that was Grodd, they killed off Grodd quick, but I think that was a hint towards Grodd. Like, but I don't think that's Gorilla Grodd. I don't think so, because they wouldn't just kill off Gorilla Grodd that quick. And Gorilla Grodd's like 10 times bigger than that gorilla. So I don't think it was Gorilla Grodd. I think it was just like a nod to Gorilla Grodd. So that moment was like insane. But I love how Peacemaker's like, dude, you're a badass. You're a G for that. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I'm a G for that and shit. Like, he was all like, I'm a badass. I'm this, I'm that. And I thought that was very cool when we got that moment. I thought that was really sick. So I'm very interested to see the fact that, like, that one moment that they're all in the car and, in their truck, and they're going back to base, and they all have blood on them, mind you, at this point. Like, Peacemaker's like all covered in blood, and all of them are all beat to shit and all that. But I love the one moment where, like, Peacemaker and Vigilante and Adebayo and John are all, rocking out to the 11th Street kids. And next thing you know, we see Hardcore just sitting there, and she's smiling. She's smiling at the sight of people she can now call her friends. She knows, like, you know what I mean? She's, like, warming up to them. And I feel like we're really seeing that for the past 2 episodes. We've really seen Hardcore really, like, we slowly are seeing her open up to the fact of, oh my god, I have friends, I have a family, I have a team, and we're seeing that. Because think about it, from what we know about Hardcore, I mean, from episode 1, She was sitting by herself at the bar. She wanted nothing to do with Peacemaker. She didn't like him. She's like, you're a pretty boy at the end of the day, but you're also, a cold-hearted murderer and a piece of shit. Like, she wanted nothing to do with Peacemaker. She wanted nothing to do with this team. She wanted nothing, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, she didn't want to do any, like, she didn't want to be connected to anybody. She was always that one person alone on the sidelines that was, like, wanted, like, to be by herself. And we're really seeing her open up when she's smiling. And, I love when Peacemaker's like, so the 11th Street kids aren't that bad, huh? And she's like, yeah, you know what I mean? She's like, she's rocking out with them in a way. And I love when she takes a picture. And that made me happy. It's like we're really seeing Hardcore's character grow. We're seeing them all become a family. Not just from Hardcore, but it really meant a lot to me that was Hardcore that started the group chat, the 11th Street kids. I was like, and we see the moments where when Peacemaker sees that, the photo that was sent to the 11th Street kids chat, that made me, tear up a little bit, because I would never have expected that she would have been the one that start that chat, because she was such a loner, a person that didn't want to be with anybody. You know what I mean? That thought that I could do things by myself. I don't consider this a team. I don't consider this a family. I don't consider them friends. But she's warming up to them. She thinks of them as friends. She's thinking of them as a team. She's thinking of them as a family. And that shows by her taking the photo, her tagging them in the group chat called the 11th Street Kids. The moment, when we see everybody getting that chat photo and getting the thing saying that they got invited to the chat, the 11th Street Kids, and they're all laughing and happy about it, about the photo, and it shows that they're becoming a family, they're becoming a team. And I really appreciated that Hardcore was the one that made that chat. It really showed that the character is growing, and she's warm, and and she's opening up to the fact that is her team, that is her friends, and I really do appreciate that. And it's going to show a lot more emotion when we get to the fact that maybe by the end of this series, some people really get hurt, or some people maybe might die. I don't know, because again, we have 3 more episodes of this series left. I think there's 8 episodes total. So we still have 3 more episodes left. So I'm just excited to see what's going to happen. And like I said in the previous episode, I think, it was episode 4. I think I said for Peacemaker. I'm not quite sure. I think it was episode 4. I said for Peacemaker. When, Vigilante went in there, I said, oh, shit, I think this is going to end where, since he thinks that, that Peacemaker sent Vigilante to kill, him, I said in my review saying, I think he's going to get out, Peacemaker's father, and he's going to have to fight, Peacemaker's going to have to fight his father, because his father's going to think that Peacemaker sent in Vigilante to kill him. So, I'm really excited to see that happen, because that's where it's going to be heading, because we see in next week's episode, when he gets out of prison, he says that, I'm going to do something I should have done a long time ago. I'm going to kill my son, and it focuses in on the white dragon costume, and I am right. That's exactly what's going to happen, and it goes back to what Anabayo said. I don't think Chris is going to be happy until his father's dead. So like I said, my theory is correct. He's going to be fighting his father, and like I said, Peacemaker doesn't know that Vigilante went in to try to kill his father. Peacemaker doesn't know that Anabayo kind of told Vigilante to go kill his father. And that's really going to hurt Peacemaker, because Peacemaker really thinks of Anabayo as a friend. So that's really going to hurt him to find out that 2 of his friends, if not someone he really considers a friend, which is Anabayo, that Anabayo told Vigilante, or kind of hinted towards Vigilante, oh, go kill Peacemaker's father. So, and also the fact of when Peacemaker ends up finding out that, Anabayo took Peacemaker's, diary, I think that actually might be his diary, and maybe that's how Anabayo knew about, what, Peacemaker's father did to him, and knew about what Peacemaker's father, kind of a revolving, Peacemaker's brother. So, I feel like maybe that's why Anabayo knew so much about Peacemaker, and maybe it wasn't in his file, it was from that diary. And that's why she was kind of trying to put it in places where maybe he would think of, oh, I put it there and this and that. So I'm thinking that maybe isn't something she's just planning. That's something that maybe that was in his place and she just took all the information to get closer to him. Something like how Waller would do, or Waller would tell somebody to do, is to gain information on them, gain their trust, become one of their friends. Because even like Myrn said that Peacemaker trusts you. That, like, when she wanted, when Myrn wanted Adebayo to get Peacemaker back and to not go talk to his father in prison, because it would screw up everything that they tried to do to get Peacemaker from staying out of jail to focus up on the mission that Waller put all them on. So that's going to be interesting when he finds out about that, if he does that. And Adebayo was sad about that, because we really get a moment between Peacemaker and Adebayo where, like, Adebayo thinks that Peacemaker, like, when he says, "Oh, come in and come get a drink," that's a code for "you want to sleep with me." And then Peacemaker's, "No, I think the gorilla broke my dick." So, like, just come in to come get a drink. And he gives her a drink that's, like, disgusting. It has, like, vinegar, and it has, like, gin syrup and a whole bunch of other crap in it. And she's like, you feed me what is it? She said, like, some, like, feces or something. You feed me, like, a disease or feces. She said something like that, or whatever. And he's like, "It's not bad." And he sips it. He's like, it's not that bad. And meaning it's disgusting and it's gross. I mean, he shouldn't have done it. And she's like, "Do you have any beers around here?" And they get, and that really opens up the talk of between Peacemaker and Adebayo. And for Adebayo, she doesn't think of Peacemaker as Peacemaker. She thinks of Peacemaker as Chris. And that's why I feel like they have such a great connection, because of the information that she found from the diary, I think, and also from, I guess from, like I said, why am I forgetting? From Waller. Yeah, from when Waller told her, like, again, Waller said at the end of the day, "You're the only one I can trust. I put you in there because you're my eyes and ears." Meaning, I think she assigned, her daughter Adebayo to get close to Peacemaker and get the diary and do all this. Maybe they had the diary previously from Suicide Squad. She just handed it down to Adebayo to get closer to Peacemaker. Or maybe it was something when the first time they all surrounded Peacemaker when he was in, his trailer, and they're all there with guns pointed at him. Maybe she got it and read up on him, and that's how she got close to him. And you know what I mean? So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with that. So, but it was really sad when, Peacemaker's like, I never really had someone that could really talk to it like this. I never really had a friend. And he's getting emotional. He's like, "Oh, I need to take a piss," because he doesn't want to, like, cry in front of Adebayo. And you see Adebayo's, like, sad about that. Like, what am I doing? Who am I turning into? When she pulls the diary out, and then she puts it and tries to, like, put it in a place where, like, Peacemaker thinks he left it. Or it could be, again, maybe it's something planted, but I think she's just trying to put it in a place where, I'm going to make him think he left it there. But that was just a sad moment, because she knows that she's becoming her mother. Remember, as we all knew, Waller said that to, Adebayo, you should have joined this, you should have made this your living, you're a natural. And I think we've been seeing that Adebayo doesn't like to think that she's a natural when it comes to, using people, betraying people, not like, not using, not, getting feelings, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't want to be a cold-hearted person that just uses people as pawns and doesn't care about when people die and doesn't care about, looking out for your teammates and stuff. Like, she doesn't want to become like her mother, and we really see how she's ignoring her, her girlfriend's calls. And she's really all becoming about work. Like, Waller is all nothing but work. And she's becoming like her mother, and she's scared of that. And she even says, when she tries calling her girlfriend after she leaves Peacemaker's trailer, like, she calls her girlfriend saying, "I know you're probably, asleep, but, work's been, work's been tearing me apart, and this, and that." And, you know what I mean? And I can really sense that she doesn't like who she's becoming. She knows she's becoming like her mother, and that's why she never wanted to join. She never wanted to go down that path of a job of what her mother has. So I really do like how they're really showing that. And she doesn't like what she's doing to Peacemaker. And I feel like we kind of knew at that moment Waller must have set her up to the point of getting that journal, getting close to Peacemaker, and initially it was a job at first to get close to Peacemaker. But now it's like she actually likes Peacemaker. She actually wants to be his friend. She doesn't think of it as like, oh, I know I got assigned to you, but it's not that anymore. I want to be your friend. I regret what I did on, the assignment I was put on to get closer to you and do all this. And I feel like she's going to regret that. And she actually feels bad. She wants to be his friend. And I'm excited to see how that's all going to play out. On top of, I knew right away when they got back, after, that big, mission at the factory, I knew right away when they got back that X-ray helmet was going to be used either in that sequence when they all get back. And I thought, for instance, maybe Peacemaker was going to turn it on for some unknown reason and find out that there was a butterfly in Murn's head. I was like, someone's going to be using it. But for some unknown reason, I thought if anybody's going to be using it, it's going to be Anabayo. I had a weird feeling. I don't know why I had it too. But I was like, there must be because I was like, Anabayo was the one that knew about Peacemaker's, X-ray vision helmet. And I was like, she's going to use it somehow. And we get that moment where she can't sleep, so she ends up going back because she feels guilty about about what she's been doing to Peacemaker, and what she's been doing behind everybody's back because no one knows that Anabayo is Waller's daughter. No one knows, and that's going to be a holy shit moment. No one's going to trust her after that. But it was interesting because when she comes back, she ends up finding Peacemaker's helmet and puts it on, and she's just excited on the fact of how cool it looks about the X-ray vision and seeing inside her hands and her bones and seeing inside throughout the walls and outside. And she's like, oh, Murn, you need to check this out. And then that's when she sees the butterfly. She flips out. Murn does the growl, gross, zombie, screech. And then that's when anybody dips outside. Murn knocks her over, knocks the gun out of her hand, and then pretty much, cuts. And because we could see how shocked Anabayo is about that, but we could see how Murn kind of looked almost upset that she found out. So my sister was because my sister Bethany's been getting into Peacemaker, and even she didn't want to watch Suicide Squad, James Gunn Suicide Squad, because I told her about, she is against, when, animals get, hurt and stuff, which, there's a scene in James Gunn's Suicide Squad where birds get, a cage of birds get lit on fire, and I told my sister about that, and she just wanted nothing to do with that. She's against, animal cruelty, even in movies and stuff. I support that as well. I don't like when they do animal cruelty in movies either. I think it's messed up, especially they had no reason really to do it in Suicide Squad, but they did it anyways. But it fit the premise and the point that it showed that the dude was a monster in Suicide Squad, the one that was doing it. So I guess that's what James wanted to show by doing that. But I can live with it in a way because I know it's not real. But my sister just doesn't like it, of course. Which again, I don't blame her. But she didn't check it out. James Gunn Suicide Squad. So I told her about a lot of the things that happen in here, and she's been skipping over them and stuff like that. With when Peacemaker's bird, eagerly keeps dropping the ferrets down. I keep telling my sister to skip those sequences. And I did not know about the gorilla, so my sister, sadly enough, saw that happen, but she, said that she paused, she, muted it very quickly and looked away. I'm happy she did because, again, it was disgusting seeing that gorilla just get, just shredded with that chainsaw. But literally, I was also the one that told my sister, I think it's going to happen where, Peacemaker's going to have to fight his father, and again, Peacemaker's not going to know why he has to fight his father because, again, he's not going to know until probably his father tells him, oh, you sent somebody to come and kill me, and then that's all going to break out with, with Vigilante, and Vigilante saying, I was told to do it by Anabayo, and that's going to hurt, Peacemaker's feelings, and a whole bunch of shit's going to happen. So I'm just excited to see everything, just everybody, finds out about everything. And they have 3 more episodes to do it, and I'm super excited. But on top of that, it's going to be interesting again to see if they're going to kill off Anabayo, because my sister is afraid that they might, because we didn't see Anabayo in the next week's episode. We only saw that one moment of her on the ground in next week's episode, but that was it. We don't know if she's alive or not, and I told my sister they're not going to kill off a character like that. I think she's going to be fine. I think, Murn's not going to want to kill her. Maybe he might, hide her somewhere, but I don't think he's going to kill her. Or maybe he's going to be try to explain to her. They're saying, oh, I'm the good guy, this, and that. I don't know what's going to happen. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Is Murn actually the bad guy, or is he actually the good guy? Because it's kind of hard to tell, because as we all know, Judo Master said to Peacemaker before he got shot by Anabayo, the butterflies aren't what you think. So I'm thinking, is it Murn really the one that's trying to exterminate them, trying to give them a bad rep? You know what I mean? But actually, he's actually the bad guy taking the good ones out. But I said to my sister, I don't know, see, because, like, the butterflies are taking over a lot of people around the globe. That's very alien takeover villain, acting. You know what I mean? Like, a role that, a villain would play of taking over, humans and trying to take over the planet. So I was like, I don't know. Is he the good guy trying to take out the bad ones? Because it seems like what they're doing is really bad, taking over people's brains. So I don't know exactly. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe Murn's actually the one that's really the bad guy, but what is his end goal, his end game to all this? Like, what's he planning on doing? Because he's just killing them, as we all know. Is that just his plan? Just he wants to kill all of them off one by one? Or is his plan bigger than that? Or is he being the good guy? Because, again, it seems like what they're doing is way worse than what Murn's doing so far. Because Murn just looks like he wants to take them out, and that's it. But compared to them, and Judo Master is saying the butterflies isn't what it looks like. They're not what they seem. But yet they're taking over people around the globe, and yeah. So I don't know. It's very hard to tell, but that's going to be interesting when we get a little bit more information on what the hell is going on and what the initial butterfly goal is, what their plan is, what their end game is, because I'm just confused in a way on what's really going on. And there's only 3 more episodes left, so I'm kind of hoping they explain it soon, because it's like we don't really know who's the villain in this situation, except Judo Master saying the butterflies aren't what they look like. But Judo Master has yet to wake up from him getting shot by Anabayo, so... And there's like a 50-50 chance he might die or live from when he got shot. So we don't know yet. I think he's going to live, and then he'll explain to everybody, the butterflies are this, Murn is the bad guy, they're trying to do this, I don't know. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I don't think the fight between Peacemaker and his father is going to happen in the next episode. I think it's going to happen in the episode after that. So I think that's what's going to happen, because if I'm correct, this was episode 5 of Peacemaker. And I don't think it's going to happen in episode 6. I think it's going to happen in episode 7 when he fights his father. And I think we'll get, like, the real big, holy shit, like, this is what's actually happening with the butterflies and Murn, maybe in 7 and 8. I think that's probably what's going to happen, maybe. Or maybe just in 8, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I'm super excited to hear down in the comments below what you guys thought about this episode, because I loved this episode. I loved how we really saw... Hardcore really open up, and it really meant something that James made it, that she is the one that started the group chat. She is the one that is calling them, is really, calling them a family, a team. And she is the one that is, warming up to people, that's, letting people in and stuff like that. I just love that writing, because we really saw that she wanted nothing to do with anybody. She wanted nothing to do with Peacemaker. She wanted nothing to do with the team. She didn't want to be there. She wanted to be left alone. She even said, can I ever be left alone? And it's cool to see that she's inviting people to a group chat. She's the one that named them the 11th Street Kid. I just love that writing. It's so good. James is killing it with the show. It's different. It's fresh. It's unique. It's crazy. It's a whole bunch of different words I can't even say literally. It's just genius, this show. And this is definitely something we needed, especially in the DCU. We needed this, that's for sure. I feel like this is a good step in the right direction if we get more stuff like this. I feel like it's a great step in the right direction, because it shows that there's a lot of crazy, funny, weird characters in the DCU, and I feel like we're finally seeing them now. And I'm liking that. We're finally seeing them, and I feel like I like exploring this, because there's something special about DC with characters like this that make DC fun. So I can't wait to see what. Also, we heard that James is working on another, spin-off series. So I'm excited to see what it might be. Do you think it's going to be Ratcatcher? Do you think it's going to be a Bloodsport show? I would like a Bloodsport show with Idris Elba. I think that would be sick, because he was my favorite character in James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So I'm here for it. Also, I loved Ratcatcher. She was my second favorite character. I would love a show with both of them. That would be sick to see where they go after. the events of Suicide Squad. But who knows? I'm excited to see whatever he'll do next, because he's killing it with this first series that he's doing. But guys, that was the video. Again, let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about episode 5. And yeah, just, are you guys excited for the next 3 episodes to come? And let me know, have you guys been watching Peacemaker? And if you have, what have you been thinking about it? But guys, that was the video. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, part of this family on this channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And guys, we are literally on our way to hitting 500 subs. Literally, we're at 440 right now. We are literally super, super close from hitting 500 subscribers. Yet again, I would love it if you guys come join this family. And again, put on those notifications, and again, like this video, because it helps with the algorithm. It helps, bring more people into the family to come check out this channel. And again, at the end of the day, it just, I love seeing this family grow, because we are making moves and we are making strides. And I'm super, super happy about how much this family has been growing. It's insane. But guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.